story about Reb Chaim of Tzanz, and it's also about this idea that if one of you is poor, one of your brothers is poor, open up your hand and not hand, open up your hand and give him as much as he's lacking. So Reb Chaim of Tzanz was very much known to not be able. Actually, it was known about quite a few rebbes that they couldn't go to sleep if they had a dime in their pocket. They had to finish everything in their pocket that day to open up the gates of heaven for tomorrow, to be completely connected to wealth or to prosperity, like the manna in the desert, right? That you weren't supposed to take more than you needed for that day. Just like that they lived, right? Imagine how much that would give us tranquility living in that level, maybe. Today we're so busy. Who is called a poor person in halacha? Somebody who doesn't have food for the next 3 days.
Oh,
How many people in the world don't have food for the next 3 days?
not too many people.
Right?
on what you consider
There are.
food.
No, I know some people who
Yeah.
don't have food for
Yeah,
today.
I know also.
Yeah, I know some people who don't have food for today.
Yeah, for Shabbat.
But most people today, Baruch Hashem, have much more food than for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
So we're so far away from what halachically is called poor, most of the society, at least in the Western world. Not talking about India and other places. But we're living in a stressful mode as if we're in that state of poverty, right?
That's
and it's
true.
ridiculous. So just to tap into that mindset of the tzaddikim of some 200 years ago, whatever, even 100 years ago, of just living in the moment and being just like completely, thank you Hashem for feeding me today, right? Not even feeding me today, feeding me for Shacharis, feeding me for Mincha, feeding me for dinner, like everything was like you felt Hashem in such a strong way, right?
Right.
So anyway, a lot of them had this custom to give everything they didn't need for that day to poor people. And the Chaim of Tzan was one of them who lived that way. And if they had a dime, if they remembered they didn't give one dime, they would sometimes wake up in the middle of the night, realize they didn't give one dime away, it's in their pocket. They would wake up and start searching the streets for somebody who needs it. Right? It sounds insane in our terms, but what a holy level to live on.
Yeah.
Right? Like how connected to Hashem is it? It's unbelievable. So anyway, so that's the way he lived. And one time he came to one of the sellers, one of the merchants in the marketplace, and he had a turkey with him.
A live turkey?
A live turkey.
The merchant or the
No,
rabbi?
Reb Chaim of Tzanz.
Okay.
That he wanted to sell. And that he could have sold. And he brought it to the Rebbitzin. And she didn't want to buy it for the price that the merchant wanted. So he went to another person. And after a little while, the Rebbitzin found out about it, that somebody one of the poor people bought this turkey from the money that her husband gave him. Okay? So she told her husband, the rabbi, look at your poor people. Look at the relationship that's going on here, right? I couldn't afford this turkey, but the poor people that you're giving your money to can afford the turkey. How does that make sense? That you give tzedakah to someone that can afford this turkey, but I can't afford this turkey. So the rabbi said to her, the Reb Chaim of Tzanz said to her, if the guy needed the turkey for Shabbos, apparently, he says, the guy needed the turkey for Shabbos. and I didn't know. So probably from now on, like his emotional need is to have a turkey for Shabbos, right? If you would have needed the turkey for Shabbos, you would have bought it.
Right.
It's not like you had no money. You would have bought it, but you decided that it's not in your budget, right? So if you decided, it's like it's a connection between your physical and emotional life, right? So he basically says to her, this guy decided that he can afford it because he emotionally needs this turkey. You apparently decided that you can live without this turkey, so you decided it's not in your budget. So he says to her, from now on, I will need to give him more so that he can, to make sure that he can have a turkey every Shabbos.
Wow.
What a level,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This Rebbitzin wasn't his wife,
His wife,
so he's
Reb Chaim, the wife of Reb Chaim of
so
Tzanz.
he's telling his wife that he's going to be giving away more money.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes,
Oh, she must have been thrilled to hear that.
right?
Right.
I just want to make sure I got this.
Yeah. I'll tell you a more wild story about Reb Chaim of Tzanz. It just came to my mind. There's a crazy story about him. Like, you really need to have a big vessel to comprehend the story. So when Reb Chaim of Tzanz was marrying off his daughter, on the way to the chuppah, he heard somebody crying, and he decided to, and he had such a big heart he couldn't hear anybody crying. So he went over to see who's crying, and he saw this. In those times they were marrying off people at the age of like 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
So he saw this 14, 15-year-old boy crying along the way, and he comes over to him. And also, it's important to know that they would, nowadays we invite only our friends and acquaintances, whatever, and family, right?
Yeah.
But in those days, it was very customary to invite all the poor people of the community to every wedding.
Oh, wow.
And the idea of the mitzvah meal was to feed all the poor people of the community.
Wow.
So he sees this 15-year-old boy crying, and he goes over to him and he says, "What happened? Why are you crying?" He says, "Because you should know that, like, sorry, I got mixed up for a minute." And he says, he sees a girl crying, and he walks over to her and he says, "Why are you crying?" She says, "Because I was supposed to be the shidduch of this boy who is marrying your daughter. But my parents, I don't remember exactly what happened there, and they lost all their money, or maybe her father died and there was no money. I don't remember exactly the story why it happened. But anyway, the family didn't have enough money and the shidduch was broken. And that's why they ended up marrying the daughter of Reb Chaim of Tzanz." So he walks over to his daughter and he says to her, "You should know that, you're probably not the shidduch of this boy."
Before or after they got married?
Before.
Okay.
Yeah. And he
Oh, they were
says,
at the wedding.
and he says to her, "Are you willing to give her, your dress away and let him marry her?" Yeah. And she didn't think about it twice. Like, what an upbringing. She just right away gave it up, and like unbelievable levels of like emotional awareness and spiritual awareness, and not just being completely absorbed with myself. It's like Rachel and Leah, right? It's like, except when we read about it in Rachel and Leah, well, that's the Bible. How can we live on that level? But this is like 100, 200 years ago, not so far away, right? Some people were still able to keep that fire of the Torah going on.
Did she find another shidduch?
I'm sure she did, She was the daughter of Chaim of Tzanz, but it's like unbelievable.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
Right.
Paying for
Right.
somebody else's wedding. You're paying for somebody else's
Right.
wedding.
Well, my daughter's happiness involved. That's more important than.
But it's
being-
not just the happiness, it's also the understanding that maybe we got it all wrong.
Right.
And we're here, we're thinking that, like today, in many places, still, and also in our places, in some of our communities, shidduchim are happening upon levels of societal, how do you say, like societal standards,
Status? you mean?
statuses, yeah,
Status.
societal statuses, right? And understanding that there's a spiritual bond here that was maybe broken because of a societal status, and that we're connected to societal status instead of being connected to the spiritual bond that is supposed to be here, and that we undermined the spiritual bond because of societal status
Wow.
and overlooked something here. It's like a great spiritual level. We can only
It
pray to
is.
have that,
Wow.
aspire to it, and ask Hashem to give us that sight,
Right.
that vision.
See, that's a case like what I was talking to before, that is being more connected to what's happening on the soul level than a physical level. Like now, everybody be worrying about what I paid for a wedding hall and a dress, and you wouldn't even be thinking about what's going on the soul level.
Who would even mind that somebody's crying when I'm on my way to marry my
Yeah.
child, right?
Right.
Wouldn't even notice.
No.
Right?
No.
Completely different.
Wow.
Right.
Oh God. And I met the debit at my sister's paycheck table. It was just like that. Nobody even thought of it. I should have for us. We were just sporadically met.
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem.
You said pass the matzah. That was all over.
The rest is history.
Yes, so much.
He said, was it
Yeah.
worth more than, what do you need, what's the minimum you need to give to get